Frank Williams, ladies and gentlemen. In here, don't be afraid, I know it.
God damn, this shit's bright. Okay, so, being from North Carolina, we don't like queers very much. I got one of them little bastards tied up in my basement, and I talked to my dad the other day, and he said, you know, you ought to kill that motherfucker. And I thought to myself, you know, maybe I should shoot this son of a bitch in the face. I don't know what makes anybody want to be a faggot. But I can't bring myself to shoot somebody that sucks a dick that good.
He's feeling it. That's good.
Thank you. You know, I don't get very embarrassed on stage. I don't give a shit about much, but when I was about 11 years old, my mom came in the room and said, why the fuck is my fucking vacuum cleaner covered in Vaseline? I had no response. I didn't have a brother. Oh well. So, if you guys ever figure out what I need to tell my mom, I got like many years behind that one. Anyway, since Peachy made me switch seats.
There you go.
He likes to hear this. Normally it'd be hard to tell, but I've told him enough times. Anyway, my mom doesn't agree with my comedy. My mom's a minister. My mom sets up churches all around the world. The last church she set up was in Armenia. Took a trip to Russia and had to smuggle her into Armenia, so on and so forth, to set up Christian churches. No joke, I don't blame my mom for becoming a minister for dealing with my dad. My dad's a lot like me, I'm a lot like him. He's my greatest influence, so I don't blame her for what she did. But she's always trying to set me right. She's always trying to save my soul. She's always trying to get me to God. And the night that I played the Comedy Store, it was a pinnacle for me. It was the echelon of comedy. It was the whiskey of go-go that I dreamed of when I played in bands of comedy. Nobody can deny that. But the comedians there, I tell you, it ain't shit. They'll tell you it ain't worth it. They'll try and beat you down. And they do as soon as you hit the door. Many of them. Fuck it. Doesn't matter. To me, it still is. That was amazing. As is being trying to, be ripped from me that it ain't a big deal, it's no big deal, this guy's show, it ain't that big of a deal. My first playing in the Store's main stage, last comic up, that's a big deal to me. I call my friend, try and tell him about it. Long story short, he can't talk long. So, somewhere in the midst of this, he calls my mom. Me and my mom hadn't talked in about 4 to 6 months, roughly. So we don't talk much. She hates what I do. And as I'm walking back to the green room to see it for the first time in my life, my phone rings. It's my mom. I answered. She said, son, she said, you know I don't agree with what you do, but your friend just called me and told me you're playing your dream. And I said, yeah, Mom, I am. She said, again, I don't agree with what you do, son, but I'm proud of where you got. She said, what I think you do is bad. She said, so son, go out there and do bad good. She said, take pride in what you do. Still hard not to cry. All right, last quick joke. I still to this day don't know why my mother fired my babysitter for having sex with me. The bitch wasn't charging extra. But here's the true story real fast for you. My mom came home, this is true. My mom came home and caught a 17-year-old girl on top of her 12-year-old boy. She flips the fuck out. She's cussing the shit out of us. We throw on our pants. We're shaking upstairs. We're thinking, fuck, I don't know. I'm not going to get to play Nintendo for 2 weeks. She might be going to jail, so she's a little more nervous than I am. She goes downstairs and starts yelling at my dad. You know this shit was going on. You knew exactly what the fuck was happening up there. I cannot believe you let that woman rape our fucking son. And my dad said, well, goddamn it, bitch. Maybe now you don't have to fucking worry about your vacuum cleaner being greasy. Good night, I'm Frank Williams. Doug Stanhope did a joke on me a couple weeks back, and this is exactly what the man said. He said, you know what, I'm a libertarian, and I have to think about the sociological views on that shit, which I had to Google. I don't know that word, but I do now. But he said, I have to think about the sociological views of being a libertarian. And then I have to think about Frank Williams on a 3-day cocaine high walking down the interstate, and I realized we need cops. Lots of them.